Come on! Get that garbage out of here! No, 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 no! Get that garbage out of here! Are you serious? Get that garbage out of here!
Make the right call and recycle right. Learn what goes where at toronto.ca/recycleright.
Good morning to all the wonderful and fantastic, beautiful Boonie believers. It is March 30th, 2023, 10:40 a.m., 7:40 Pacific in Vancouver, British Columbia. My co-host, Tino D'Antonio, known as Sicilian, your host, Joe Boonie here. We are moments away, folks. We are moments away from the voice himself, Jack Armstrong. Before Jack's coming on, let's welcome Tino D'Antonio. How are you, Tino?
Good morning, Joe. I'm doing great. My day started like 3 hours ago, but I'm doing great. Thank you.
No problem. I'm looking forward to this interview with Jack, and it's an honor to have you right beside me speaking with this amazing individual, Jack Armstrong.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate
No
that.
problem. I'm looking forward to hear so many great answers from Jack, and if we have time, we can talk about the Toronto Raptors, because right now they are in a playoff spot in the 8th seed. So let's fingers crossed if we can get that last question in there if Jack has time for us.
For sure.
No problem. But how are things with you, my friend? What's new with you? Anything new?
Just keeping busy, Joe. Trying to earn my take every day that I'm blessed to be here. And of course, we're in a different world. It's a tough world out there. So you've got to be vigilant in terms of, watching where you're going and who you talk to in particular, because some of the strangest things happen on the streets here in Vancouver. But I'm quite used to it. I'm a resident and have been a resident off and on since 1978. That's a long time. But I love beautiful, the BC coast is just majestic. It's absolutely a beautiful place. And if you've never been here, Joe, I've always said to you, whenever you want, I'll put you up for whatever it takes to get you out here to see such beautiful nature and as it presents itself. It's just beautiful here.
I appreciate it. It's actually one of my biggest dreams is to go to Vancouver, British Columbia, and to see you, to meet you and so many faces, but just being around good people like you and, maybe even going down and spending a few $100 on the Vancouver Canucks playing the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Leafs can beat the Canucks for once, because for some reason those Canucks have something against those Leafs. And, the Canucks are playing good hockey right now. They're playing good hockey at the end of the year.
Well, let's just say maybe they've woken up and they figured out that they've got to come to play. Because let's face it, the fans are a little disappointed in Vancouver with the results of their matches over the last couple of months. It's just not been a very good season for the Vancouver Canucks. But you're absolutely right. They have been playing better. They have been playing with their hearts, and let's hope that continues.
For sure. Just checking the time. About a minute. You should be here soon. Everything sounds good. The mic sounds good.
Yep. Sound wise. We had some challenges this morning for the last hour.
Yeah, we did.
Trying to get to this point, and I'm actually quite surprised that this is streaming quite well right now.
Let's not jinx it. Let's not jinx it.
Well, yeah, let's not put it out there, because we worked desperately hard for about an hour.
Yeah.
And I don't know what we did anything different from an hour ago, but it seems to be working now.
We are moments away from.
I know. I just can't wait to hear his voice and say good morning. And
it's I've had him once before on my show about 3 years ago, and the nicest person you can ever ask for. Great commentator. Originally from Brooklyn, New York. Get that garbage out of here. I made him say that. Let's see if we can say it again on the show. On this Good Morning. That would be great. It would be truly great. Hopefully he doesn't have any technical difficulties.
Well, hopefully not. I was just thinking that myself. What if he's trying to get in and he's having the same type of difficulty? And as I pointed out, Joe, I really believe it's the platform that you're on.
It could be. I don't know what other platform I can use. There's no other platform.
Well, this is just it. Yeah, I think maybe trying out other platforms and seeing how that works with some of your supporters. And seeing how the stream works, how the conversation goes. But this is probably one of the best streams so far. And I don't know if it's because it's being pre-recorded and not live per se.
I think so.
That might make a difference. But it would be interesting to see if we could, at some point, maybe in the future, over the next week.
He's calling me on the phone.
Okay.
Good morning.
Joe, I'm trying to sign in. It says I have to have YouTube or something else. I don't have that stuff.
The YouTube or Facebook. Last time when I tried to bring you on the platform, did it ask you for any of that?
No.
No. Okay, let's go ahead and do it on the phone. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Good morning, Jack. How are you, my friend?
Good. So are you taping right now?
I am taping. About 5 minutes ago, I'm taping with my co-host next to me.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that'll work. I tried getting in on that other thing, and it just won't let me in. So
yeah, I don't know. I've had some technical difficulties too, Jack.
Yeah,
so
that's fine. Okay. I
Okay.
can do it this way. This is fine.
Okay, it's okay. So good morning, Jack. How are you, my friend?
Joe, I'm great. How are you?
I am fantastic. Jack, it's been 3 years since I've had you back on the show, and you're back at it. And I actually have some great questions with me and my co-host. My first question, Jack, is when in your life did you first realize you wanted to be a professional sports broadcaster?
When I got fired as a coach in 1998. I don't think I even, at that point, honestly, even thought for a minute that I would do it beyond a year. I had a year left on my coaching contract at Niagara, and I was kind of burnt out, and I just wanted to take a year off from coaching and then get back into coaching. Yeah. And then, here I am 25 years later. So I don't necessarily think it was my life's plan to do this. I kind of found it, and maybe it found me, and here I am. I'm not sure how long I'll continue to do it. We'll see. I enjoy doing it. I love it, and we'll see how it goes. But I've enjoyed it. It's been a great ride, and I'm very blessed to be able to do it.
I'm very blessed too, and I've been watching you for a very long time, and I'm very, very honored that I can actually have you on my show. I dreamed of having you on my show many, many years ago, and look, we're here today. I asked you the question, and that's the response I want to hear from you, Jack. You're a phenomenal commentator. You are the best commentator that anybody can ask for, especially on the Raptors game.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate it.
No problem, my friend. No problem. If you hadn't have chosen the broadcasting aspect of your career, what other profession would you have chosen?
Well, I probably would have been back in coaching. Honestly, again, as I said, my intention was to just do it for a year to kind of stay visible, stay relevant, as most coaches do. I think you see it a lot. NHL, NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball. You'll see guys, do a year in studio or work some games or whatever, just to kind of keep their name out there, that people know they're still alive, and then go back in it. So that, I'd probably still be coaching. And if I wasn't coaching, I'd probably be in management at this point, whether it be in college as an athletic director, or maybe at the pro level as an executive with a team. So that would have been my method, and that would have been what I've been doing. So again, I'm lucky to be doing this. I'm blessed. I'm fortunate because I actually have fun doing this. This is a joyful experience. And, my last few years of coaching, a lot of the joy that I felt with my love affair with basketball kind of gets sapped away a little bit, even when you're winning. Winning, losing, whatever. It's a grind. It's a tough lifestyle. I respect what my former coaching colleagues do for a living and how hard they work. I got a ton of respect for what coaches go through. It's a tough lifestyle. It's very much a grind on your family.
Yeah.
So I had a great time doing that, and I feel, again, as I said many times, blessed to have found a second career and to be able to be part of it.
Now, my co-host Tino D'Antoni has a question. Tino, go ahead. It's the floor for you.
Jack, first thing, bonjour, as you would say. I always hear that in your broadcast sometimes, and it just, both my daughter and I just love you. You're an absolutely amazing and entertaining broadcaster. But I'm just gonna jump to the question because otherwise I know how much time we have here. But the question that I have is, I've noticed that you broadcast on many of the Raptor games. And do you travel with the team, and how does your scheduling for future game broadcasts get set up with the Toronto Raptor management?
Well, it actually, as you know, the Raptors are owned by three groups. Larry Tannenbaum is the primary, he's the managing guy, and then you have Bell Media, which is TSN, and Rogers, which is Sportsnet, and they each own 37.5%. What they do is they divide the TV and radio 50-50. Both get 41 games on TV and radio. I'm exclusive to TSN, so I not only do, as you know, NBA for them, but I also do college basketball. Obviously doing the NCAA tournament right now. I got 2 more days of that coming up this weekend. So I do the 41 games on TSN, regardless of if they're home or road. So that's how it goes. TSN and Sportsnet get together, and they do literally a draft, and they draft all 82 games at the beginning of the year. And then the 41 games that TSN gets, those are the games I'm assigned to do. And, so for example, I have the NCAA tournament Saturday. I have the final four on Saturday. I have the championship game Monday night. Then I'm on a 6 a.m. flight from Toronto to Charlotte the next morning. And I do the Charlotte Hornets Raptors game Tuesday night, Charlotte. Then I'm on the Raptor Charter Tuesday night after the game. And I do the Raptors Celtics game in Boston Wednesday night. So, so it's a crazy travel schedule, but it's all based upon what comes up at the draft. So I do some home games and some road games. So it's a little bit of a mix. I used to do TSN radio as well as an analyst, but I gave that up 2 years ago, just to have a little bit more time with family and stuff like that. And
of course.
So, so I'm very happy with where it is. I'm very happy with my schedule and what I'm doing.
Well, we're very happy to see you when you do the broadcasting and commenting on the various Raptor games. I just don't like, neither does my daughter, like the fact that, we don't want to miss Jack, but sometimes you can't be at every game. But I appreciate your answer, and I totally get the aspect of having to spend more time with your family. I just got another question here, and I wanted to ask you, what is the biggest challenge for you when you're watching the play-by-play action generally, when you're commenting?
When I'm on the game, I wouldn't say I don't think anything's a challenge. I think what is different now is the fact that Matt Devlin and I have chatted about it a lot. The game is even faster than when I started in the NBA 25 years ago. I mean, the pace of play, the amount of three-point shots, the amount of live action, there just isn't as much time as there used to be for small talk, for chatter. You really have to stay engaged with the pace of the game. I'm not saying it's as fast as hockey, but it's a lot faster than maybe a game that I called in 1998 with Chuck Swirsky.
For sure.
It's a different NBA now, and there's less action around the paint. There's more action on the perimeter. There's more ball screens. There's more dribble handoffs. There's more collisions out there. There's more three balls. It's just a rapid fire game. It's almost like doing tennis with a long, back and forth within one point, and I find that that's the NBA now. And so you have to adjust your broadcast style to that.
Of course.
Jack,
of course.
I have a question that people talk about all the time. I get cousins that tell me, who's a better player? Is it James or Michael Jordan? So my question is, who do you like the most, LeBron James or Michael Jordan, and why? And in your eyes, as a professional broadcaster, who was a better player of what you saw?
Well, obviously, I remember Michael Jordan in college at Carolina, and then his early times with the Bulls where they couldn't win, and then obviously later on where he reached absolute superstardom. And then I've seen LeBron his whole career. I only got to see Michael Jordan in person as an NBA broadcaster when he played with the Wizards at the end of his career, and he still was a very good player.
Yeah.
If I had to take one game and say, I need this guy to win, and he'll rip everyone's heart out to win, I'd take Jordan. I do think LeBron James is the better all-around player, like in terms of scoring, rebounding, passing, team player. But I think Jordan is one of those guys that if I were walking down a dark alley and I had to have somebody next to me, I think Jordan is the greater competitor, and I think would be that guy if you said, kind of like the NCAA tournament where it's a one-game season, and I got to have this guy next to me in the foxhole, I would probably say Jordan. So, maybe I'm dodging your question. I don't think I am.
No, they're not dodging.
I think they're both equally great. And I think people forget how great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was.
Yes.
And I think I still believe that he deserves to be part of that conversation.
Absolutely.
And then there are so many other guys that I could rattle off in a span of 10 to 15 seconds that are all deserving to be in the conversation of the top five. So, to me, I think those three guys that I mentioned are probably the three best. And again, a lot of it depends on what your taste is and what you like to watch in basketball. I think the best all-around guy, is LeBron. I think the best competitor and best winner would be Jordan. So it depends on what your taste is.
Interesting how you say that. I've never watched Michael Jordan myself. I've watched LeBron all my life, and I still say, Michael's better. It's like saying who's better, Wayne Gretzky or Cindy Crosby, or is Connor McDavid better than Wayne Gretzky? It's a debate, but what you said, I actually totally agree with. Like, you got Michael, who's great, and you got LeBron. So they're right there, like number one, number two. It's like kind of, you want to say not Wendell Clark. It's like Matt Sundin and Wendell Clark. They're close to each other, if you understand what I'm trying to say, Jack.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of times things are based upon the era that you play in. I think Wayne Gretzky in this era would be great. I think Sidney Crosby 20 years ago, Connor McDavid 20 years ago would be great players. I think Michael Jordan today would be great. I think LeBron James 40 years ago would be sensational. So to me, I think a lot of it just comes down to, can you plug in and play? And I think the great ones in any era can do that. The gifts that they have, I got into a heated discussion with my brother-in-law one time about Bob Cousy. He said, that guy can't play, can't do this, kid. I said, Bob Cousy, in the era that he played in, was a great player. Now, Bob Cousy today, with technology and teaching and yada, 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 would adjust to what he was being coached to do and be a great player in this era. It all comes down, because a lot of today's players is playing based upon how they're being coached.
Sure.
What the points of emphasis are. So you say, well, nobody likes to play in the post anymore. Well, nobody likes to play in the post anymore because guess what? No one's asking them to play in the post. They want everyone shooting threes. So therefore, the skill sets of players today and what they do and don't do, a lot of it's based upon, what they're asked to do.
Interesting. Tino?
Yeah. I'm just going to run in because I know that Jack's short on time with his busy schedule. But Jack, I've got one final question to ask here. How do you feel about the $30,000 fine that was given to point guard Fred VanVleet for what was publicized as public criticism of an official? And as well that VanVleet was also fined again another $15,000 in the game recently with, again, what was referred to as an obscene gesture. How do you feel about these kinds of fines? And like for me personally, I didn't find them as obscene and as prolific as the media is printing. But how do you feel about these kinds of fines?
Well, what I feel and what I think are two different things. The rules are the rules. You criticize officials, you're gonna get fined. Whether he's in the right, whether he's in the wrong, he knows, and he knew the minute he opened his mouth that he was going to get fined. So there's also intent there to say, hey, look, I don't care. I'm going to take the fine because I got to create a narrative here, and I got to get things turned around, and more. The whistle's got to go more in the direction I want it to go in. So people are if you watch NBA playoffs, if you watch coaches all the time in the NHL, whatever, a lot of times it's kind of an unwritten rule. Take the fine, rip the refs early in the series, try to change the narrative, or say something detrimental about the opposing team before the next game and say, well, we're going to get fouled on every play, or, they hold on every play, whatever. And, so it's all gamesmanship. I can't really comment on the obscene gesture because I didn't see it. So I don't know what happened, what you're referring to whatsoever.
Right.
But the bottom line is the rules are the rules. These guys know the rules. The players know the rules. The coaches know the rules. And they know what they can do and they know what they can't do. They're adults. So, and they have plenty of disposable income. So if they decide to cross the line, they got to pay the fine. And am I worried about that? No. I mean, there's plenty of disposable income. They're just fine. They know what they're doing. There's intent there. So to say, woe is me, poor guy, he's being treated unfairly. No, they know what they're doing when they say this stuff, because they're doing it to affect change, to create a narrative, and it's all calculated. Mm-hmm. And it's not just Fred VanVleet; it's coaches in every sport, it's players in every sport. They're competitive people and they're trying to win. And so a lot of times I just laugh at the whole thing because we all know what they're doing. And, so to me, you just kind of roll with it. And sometimes it works, that gamesmanship, and sometimes it doesn't.
Great answer, Jack. Great answer. I want to just squeeze one quick one if I can. I know we're running at about 16, almost 17 minutes. Jack, I got to ask you something. What is your biggest accomplishment in life that you cherish?
That's easy. My wife and I adopting 3 boys and raising 3 boys. Family, that's the most important thing in life. Nothing you achieve in a career even comes close to that, because it's just a career. It's just a job, and the job doesn't love you back.
Absolutely.
I've been a basketball coach who's been fired, and guess what? The only people there to have you back when you get fired are your family and your friends, sure, close friends, and then the people that are associated with you because of your title. They all disappear because you no longer have that title and influence anymore. So it's So to me, you learn early in life that the things that really matter are your family, your close friendships, people in your life that really matter, celebrating relationships, celebrating accomplishment, being there for each other when things are tough and you go through adversity. And so that's an easy answer.
Blessings to you,
Jack,
Jack.
if you have about 30 seconds, I have one final question for myself. If that's okay?
Sure, Joe.
Would it be okay if you say, Joe Sports Channel, get that garbage out of here? I want to show this to my family. I love that catchphrase you say. I have a catchphrase too, but I would love if you can say, Joe Sports Channel, get that garbage out of here.
Joe Sports Channel, get that garbage out of here!
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Jack. I'm very honored and very thankful that I had the opportunity to speak with you once again. Looking forward to maybe come to a Raptors game and meet you face to face if there's any possibility in the near future. It would be a pleasure, my friend.
All right, Joe, have a great day.
You too.
And guys, thank you so much for having me. All the best.
No problem. Go Raptors, go. We're going to the playoffs.
Right,
Let's
take
go.
care, guys.
Many
Take care.
blessings to you, Jack.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Jack Armstrong, play-by-play announcer, the voice of the Toronto Raptors on Joe Sports Channel. Tino, let's review that as we're still recording live.
Wow. I tell you, man, get that garbage out!
I said, please, if he has time, let him say that.
And you know what? Even before he said it with the tone that he said it, that's exactly how I heard it come out.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
It's just incredible. He's an absolutely wonderful, wonderful person.
Oh, there's nothing better. I've interviewed so many people over the years, and I got to say, I've interviewed Joe Bolin, Rob Murray, Ian White. I can go down the list for so long. I'll be here for hours, and you can hear me rant all they want. But Jack Armstrong is he is the best person I've had on Joe Sports Channel on the show. There's nothing better than this. You know,
It was amazing how I can't say that I wasn't expecting that response when I asked him what his greatest achievement was in life.
you
that
beat
he
my
cherished.
question. You beat me. You beat it to me. That's good.
Well, Joe, I had to. I don't know what possessed me to ask the question. It's just
That's good.
I had to, and the fact, like it almost brought tears to my eyes, but I got this chill of just absolute blessing when he mentioned his family. And did he say 3 boys that they adopted?
He told me before too on the show one time he's adopted 3 boys. Yeah,
I did not know that. And for me, anybody, any family that adopts children, there's really something special about a family that is got the guts, because it takes a lot of commitment and gut, because you're taking on this responsibility that's for the rest of your life. It doesn't matter if your child is 8 years old versus 28 or 48. They're still your children, and there's a responsibility there as a parent. So, wow, I had no idea. And I'm just going to include Jack in some of my daily prayers as I do consistently after my godfather passed, because he was the one that kind of introduced me to God and prayer and thanking the Lord for our blessings. And maybe that's part of my attribute in life, that my successes come from my belief in a higher power that guides me through my day, that guides me to make the right decisions, that guides me to give me the strength to be a good parent and to be there for my kids, to be there for my wife, to be there for my friends. Like that's not an easy task to do day to day, especially with the job that I've got. But you know what? You're either committed to it or you're not committed to it. You can't fake it. It won't work.
Well, did you hear what he said? Did you hear what he says? If you when you get fired, right? Who has your back? Who has your backbone? It's your family.
Your family.
It's not your boss. It's not your workers. No, it's your family.
No.
It's your wife. It's your children. It's your grandparents. It's people maybe you've adopted over the years. It's your family. Family comes first. And I always say family is the number one thing in life. It doesn't matter if they backstabbed you. I've had family members backstab me. But at the end of the day, I would rather go to them than go to somebody that I don't know. And I'm not going to put
Absolutely.
names out there. I'm not going to put names out there, but I'm just saying family is the most important thing out there. When you hear the word family, it gives me goosebumps because listen, I've started the show back in 2013. Without my family, without my supporters, without you, this would never have happened. When I said to myself, I want to interview Jack Armstrong once again, but I want to have somebody next to me. I want to have you. I don't want to have anybody else but you because I know what kind of man you are. You stand your ground. You're a well-spoken human being. And when I met you on Live Me, I said we're going to be really good friends. And you know what? You're kind of more like a father figure than anybody else.
Well, thank you, Joe. And I don't want to toot my horn, but I have a set of rules for myself. Like most individuals should have their own set of rules,
Sure.
and you got to play by those rules because if you stray from them, it's going to change you in terms of how people will perceive you, what people will think of you. I mean, it really doesn't matter at the end of the day what people think of me. I know who I am. And that's what's important. I know who Tino D'Antonio is. I know, what lines I can cross and what lines I don't cross. And it's like Jack said, these guys are adults. They know the rules are the rules. If they cross that
That was a
line,
good statement. That was a
well, if
that was
they,
a tough statement to say.
yeah, and if they
I wouldn't
cross
say
that line, they're capitalized. They're making good money. They know that it's going to cost them, but they've got plenty of money, really, if it came down to it, to throw around. My thought is, if I knew I was going to get a fine, for instance, for doing whatever I do, because there are times where I do cross that line, and I could be subjected to, a certain process that has to keep me in line. And if it comes with a fine, well, I knew what I was doing. I knew what I was getting into. And I also know that, hey, if I get found to have crossed that line and there's punitive issues to come with that, which is a fine, well, then I guess I got to pay the fine, right? It's the way that it works. So I really like the way Jack presented that. And like, he didn't say it like, well, I have feelings about it. And he didn't know about the gesture, the obscene gesture. I mean, I'm only asking a question based on how the media presented it. And that was that he made an obscene gesture. But, I looked at the clip and if throwing your hands up in the air and pounding them down is a rude gesture, well, I guess that's what it is to a ref, and he didn't like it. So yeah, you're going to get a $30,000 fine for it, right?
Well, I like what he said. They have good income. That was good. When they have good income, they make good money because what is $30,000 in like what? $10, $15?
Well, exactly, and that's what I meant by they're capitalized players because they make an extreme good amount of money than the average Joe, let's call it, with all due respect.
You have to say the name Joe, huh? The average
Well,
Joe.
it is what it is, right? I mean, like Jack said, they're adults, and if you cross that line, the refs are there. They've got a tough job. I know they've got a tough job. I mean, you and I have sat down and we just didn't like that call. And boy, if that ref was in front of us, there'd be a few expletives, sent to that ref. But, we can get away with it because we're just fans or people in the background. They can't fine us aside from if we really get rude, they could probably have us ejected from the arena, which I don't think it would get down to that. I mean, it would have to be pretty serious, but nonetheless, we are who we are because of, what we do day by day, who we talk to day by day and what we learn from the people that we talk to and just general living, man. It's general living. One day, Joe, who we got to get on, and I gotta try and get Don Cherry to talk.
You gotta get him in. Bring it on Don. Go ahead. Bring it on Don would be absolutely unbelievable. The guy that got fired for nothing. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. We won't elaborate on that because I think we both have had many discussions about Don Cherry and how he was let go from the NHL Coach's Corner, which I still love to this day. I still look at old clips,
Oh, you do.
and I love Don Cherry. I mean, he's I do he'll tell it is. He won't sugarcoat things, and he's an honorable human being. He's a good guy, a damn good coach, and it was a big segment of the NHL broadcasting station to remove that part of the NHL. When that happened, Joe, I stopped watching hockey. I really did. The only time I ever watched hockey was playoffs. But when hockey was on and I knew Coach's Corner was on, Hockey Night in Canada, you better believe it that Tino D'Antonio was in front of that boob tube getting ready to watch one and only Don Cherry,
I used to when I was a kid, I used to be a big Matt Sundin fan, and I used to always watch Coach's Corner second intermission. The Leafs are down, let's say 3-2 against Carolina or Calgary. Remember Kiprusoff, how good Kiprusoff was in Calgary, and Don Cherry says the Leafs are going to come back. They're going to be the next Bruin. They're going to be this. They're going to be. And you see Ron McLean and all good. And now I watch Coach's Corner. It's not Coach's. It's Hockey Night in Canada. You got people, no names. You got like a Kevin Bieksa that played for the Vancouver Canucks for many years. Great player. Do I think he's a Hall of Famer? I don't think so, but I think he's a great player. He did good for Vancouver. But when I watch Coach's Corner, when I watch Hockey Night in Canada, it's like I'm sitting down in this room and I'm lost for words. Where is that man, that host that knows the whole game of hockey, that coached the Boston Bruins, that took the Bruins to the playoffs, that gave them everything they want? Now I watch these bunch of guys that are good, but we're missing a host. There's no host. Ron McLean is not the host. I'm sorry.
It's a totally different show.
Yeah. It's like having, it's like somebody coming on my show and taking over my show, and I just sit back and watch the person do what he can do. And think.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be the same, Joe.
So.
Now, Joe, you're running at about 30 minutes here. You want to call it a segment?
I want to call it a finish, but I want to go back to one of your great questions before we end this broadcast. And I have it actually on notes here. Great question you asked Jack Armstrong, the host and the voice of the Toronto Raptors. You've said, I've noticed you broadcast on many Toronto Raptor games. Do you travel with the team, and how does your scheduling for future game broadcasting get set up with the Toronto Raptors management? You do not hear anybody say that, so I don't know where you got that from. If anybody told you that, or just that beautiful brain cell of yours, you come from Italy originally, so maybe the Italian got you to say those beautiful words, because there's nothing anybody that would say that but you. So that was a great question, really good question.
And you know what? The way he broke up his answers with TSN and the other broadcasting stations, 41% this, 39% that. I was in awe. Like it's incredible how his time is spent and how that actually goes into play and gives him the cues to get ready. Because he's got to travel, he's got to get. He's got to have his game hat on. He explained it fully, and I never knew that all of that stuff went on in the background. So great answer by Jack Armstrong, and what a pleasure it was to have had an opportunity to present a couple of questions to him, and just it was an opportunity not to just to be with Jack, but to be with you, Joe.
Pleasure. It's a pleasure, and it's nice to have you on my corner asking these questions as well. I want to thank all the amazing viewers from all the unbelievable, beautiful Boonie believers and the D'Antonio believers as well, I'm going to say, that will be listening to this a little bit later on. I love each and every one of you. Check out my YouTube, Joe Sports Channel, Joe Boonie on Facebook, Joe the Fighting John on Instagram, and never mess with the Boonie. And never mess with the D'Antonio. We love you all. God bless you. And we hope to see you soon. Thanks, guys.
Blessings, everybody.